6. Number 6, South Carolina beat number 15, Kentucky, 78-66. Both South Carolina and Texas are 15-1 in the SEC. The Longhorns and Gamecocks split their season series, but South Carolina won a coin flip and will be the number 1 seed for this week's SEC tournament in Greenville. Men's top 25 hoops on Sunday. Number 8, Michigan State beat number 11, Wisconsin, 71-60. Illinois upset number 15, Michigan, 93-73. Michigan State's 15-3 in the Big Ten. Michigan 14-4. The Spartans and Wolverines will battle next Sunday in a matchup that could determine the Big Ten championship. Elsewhere Sunday, number 18, Memphis beat UAB 88-81. The Tigers are 14-2 in the American. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
You've heard of smart bombs,
smartphones, smart cars, smart watches, and smart glasses.
Now you can add smart player,
giving you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the 2 best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
The best of every day now officially underway. It is a Monday right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Kevin Walsh. And away we go. The dancing shoes. The A-Sun is underway. A couple decent looks tonight overall. The Houston Cougars are going to beat the hell out of the Kansas Jayhawks tonight. And so much more on this show tonight, Kevin. Are you ready today? Are you pumped? It's a new week, and we're in March. It's March. It's madness.
Yeah, it certainly is. Shout out Houston for not covering against Cincinnati. I tried, Donnie, I tried to do the Joe Lisi special of Cincinnati plus 14.5, Houston to win the national championship.
Yes.
And they wouldn't let me parlay the two.
Wow.
I don't know what that was all about.
We're on to that.
Yeah, I was really hoping I'd get like a non-correlated great number on them to win the national championship. It is what it is. But, yeah, man, it's what a weekend of college basketball. You know, the results just keep pouring in, man, and the top teams keep looking pretty darn good.
How'd the show go Saturday for the people out there that don't know? It looked like a combo between Betting Above the Rim and the College Basketball Today show. What was it? What was the official name of the show on Saturday?
I believe the official name, you'll love this. Yeah. Betting Above the Rim College Basketball Today edition. So
yeah,
I think we filled up filled up the character count on that one. But it was fun. I mean, it was good to just get into a lot of the conversations. Personally, I don't think there were a lot of breaks that went my way. Pittsburgh, for example, plus 10.5. We're down about 3 with 5 to go. The first time Louisville led by 11 was when they dunked the basketball with 3 seconds left to go from up 9 to up 11.
How'd my guy Rain do in that game? Drop any triples in that game for me?
I couldn't even tell you. I just one of those games, Donnie, that every time you're checking in, you're like, excellent, we can count that money. And then you check one final time, you go, next, someone explain yourself.
Yeah, I can't believe what you're seeing on the screen. Yep, 79-68. Let me see what my guy Rain did here real quick. Let's see. Rain Smith, 205. So probably wouldn't have cashed any tickets. So damn it, why did they cover, right? Come on.
What was the point? Were you getting involved on the weekend part of it, or were you laying low?
No, laying low at that point because soccer weekend started for me in my household. So Saturday I was out, but I was keeping an eye on everything. There were a couple games and a couple spots I liked, but some injury information that I wasn't like, all right, I wonder what we're going to get. Like Texas Tech. Texas Tech can beat you from the 3-point line. You can shoot it against Kansas. Wasn't sure if 2 of their 5 starters would be in. They were both in. They beat Kansas. I thought that was a very good win. But sort of for me, too, is not really getting in the mix on Saturday. There's one game Saturday night, which was a West Coast Conference game. Not West Coast Conference. Maybe it was a Mountain West. Maybe it was a West Coast Conference. What's UC Santa Barbara, like that division?
Like the West Coast? Like not the WCC.
Yeah, what would they be called?
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, like that. There was, because I was telling people on the air Friday when I do like the solo show.
What are we thinking here?
Yeah, you know, it might be the WAC. Might be the WAC. Let me just go back. I'm going to go back 2 days here. The 28th. No, 30. There you go. First. The last game on the board, which is UC San Diego and Cal State Fullerton, which is the Big West Conference. And it was like handicapping games. Kevin was like, most people are going to look at like, hey, man, I want to watch like Auburn and, Kentucky playing. Auburn was tremendous, scoring almost 50 points in the first half. Texas Tech went on the road, never wins in fog, finally pulls off a victory there. Iowa State, really impressive against Arizona. But I was like, sometimes I just tell people, go to the bottom of the games. Like if you're using Ken Pom, like he has a thing called, fan match, which means give me the best games, give me the worst games, non-competitive. Like I went down and saw UC San Diego. I said, man, this game looks like an absolute thrashing on paper. Like one team plays great defense, one team plays no defense, one team lights up the 3-point line, one team doesn't defend anything. 100-55 final was that score. So I like really looking like down those boards because Ken Pom predicted 83-57, ended up 100-55. Like it was a decimation. So didn't get involved per se money-wise, but was looking at overall. But as we get closer to the tournament, which this week again, you're going to get a lot of the mid-majors, lower conferences starting off. Next week's the big boys come into it. 2 teams, Kevin, like I find myself gravitating to now on a national level, and they're both out of the Big 12. It's Texas Tech and it's Iowa State, 30-1 and 20-1 respectively to win the national championship. Not with the best teams in the country, like Auburn, I think is better. Obviously Duke, and there's a couple other teams in there. But when I take a look at like the price point and what I think I'm going to get out of now healthy teams, I like those 2 teams out of the Big 12.
Yeah, I think the health is a big part of it. They both dealt with a little bit of injury issues that potentially cost them some results, notably against Houston. Somebody who has a Houston ticket, I'm not going to pretend like those were full strength ball clubs that went. Houston laid at I think 11.5 to Iowa State. By the way, that was a very injured group ultimately that they ended up playing there. We saw the number at Texas Tech balloon. So I understand it. Again, you talk about points, price points, and how much further will those drop? I think one of them would have to win the Big 12 championship to cut the number drastically. But as always, if you have been able to wait this long, you just got to hold out, I think, right, until that bracket officially does drop.
Yeah, you do, because the matchups are going to be key, and there will be teams that will be misseeded and be like, how did Auburn wind up playing, I don't know, Florida or whatever, or Houston or whatever it is, whoever ends up like a 2 seed in their division. So we always see how that plays out. But the one thing I was impressed too is like Auburn goes on the road on Saturday and wins that game. Was it surprising they won it? No, it wasn't. But 49-34, place was on fire to start that game. And you just look at the 3-point shots. Like Auburn was collapsing it, man. 12 of 26, just Splash Mountain all over the place. And then the Kentucky Wildcats at home, one of the more fluid offenses in the country, only got 50 shot attempts, 17 from 3-point range, only made 4 of those. Just an impressive performance where you just look at Auburn, best team, best player, best conference. Man, they are impressive.
Yeah, they are. I give them a ton of credit, man. To go into Rupp and win like that. I ended up playing a Kentucky money line, and I think maybe I knew it was the wrong thing, but it's just like Auburn's going to lose another game for me type of approach, and you have the odds boost. But for me, Kentucky is continuously now taking some of these injury lumps. They just lost. Jackson Robinson was supposed to be their best player. He's officially now out for the season with the wrist injury, and it feels as if it's just they've not been able to settle in a way that I'm sure Mark Pope was hoping for. And it's interesting, but when you get those early bursts of results, right, the expectations shift. And Kentucky went from, all right, we got to make sure we make the tournament to, are we a Final Four team? And I think now the notion is we better win a basketball game here in March. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of frustration that'll come down the pike. But for Auburn, I mean, it's title or bust, man. There's no other way to describe it. And look, they went out very unceremoniously last year in round number 1. Somebody who was holding a ticket on them last year, it's a big reason why, they weren't my selection coming into the year. Honestly, it was. I was like, I just can't do it again with this group. And, they're booked as the title favorites. With the strength of the SEC, they only lost once in conference play.
2 smashing machines out there on Saturday. Duke Blue Devils easily handled their business over
Duke's
Florida
crazy,
State.
Man.
I mean, Duke just gets up and down the court. They do everything extremely well. It's almost like you're saying, the ACC, but you still, if it's just the ACC, it's not 69, 68 victories. Like, they are pummeling basketball teams right now, which is fun to watch. Yeah. And then you sort of, slip around and take a look at some of the other scores that took place on Saturday. Florida with a really impressive performance. And shout out to JY, took a bad beat. And I saw his best bet on 79-76, Alabama, Tennessee. Dude misses a long 3-point shot, cruises over that total. But, boy, that is a tough break and a really good win for Tennessee at that point. But I enjoyed looking at some of those scores. Iowa State smashed Arizona. So now as you start to get that focus in where this week you see the teams play their final selection or final days. Next week is the conference tournaments for the majors. And then after that, good times all the way through. Selection Sunday, and away we go. It's Kevin, it's Donnie, Radio Madrid.
We give you expert analysis and information 24 hours a day.
7 days a week.
Any easier and the government would ban us. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. Thousands of Microsoft 365 customers reported having issues with services like Outlook on Saturday. In a series of posts on X, the company said it was investigating the issue, which affected various Microsoft 365 services. Outage reports for Microsoft 365 and Outlook in particular peaked around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before dropping off, and some users began saying their access was restored. The Pentagon is sending about 3,000 more active duty troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. President Donald Trump's Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered elements of a Stryker Brigade combat team and a General Support Aviation Battalion for the mission. According to the Pentagon, the forces will arrive along the 2,000-mile border in the coming weeks. Already about 9,200 U.S. troops in total are at the southern border, including 4,200 deployed under federal orders and about 5,000 National Guard troops under the control of governors. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
You don't have to listen to SportsGrid.
You can always go out in the woods at night, look up, and wish on a shooting star. Or you can get the winning edge
right here. And you won't find any ticks on you the next day.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Favorite time of the year, March. March is fantastic. March gives us baseball. March gives us March Madness. March gives us hopefully elevated play in the NBA as some teams are tanking their way out. Some teams are trying to strive to get the highest seed possible. But I do want to start, Kevin, because the Combine is over. And I don't really even know if anything even happened to the Combine other than Cam Scatteraboo jumping really high. What a complete, utter waste of time. But the information, Kevin, was good coming out of that. I don't think we got a chance to speak here on the biggest error that could have been made by multiple teams. Matthew Stafford leaving the Rams and or going to the New York Giants and or the Las Vegas Raiders. Everybody knew he shouldn't leave, even himself and his wife. Looks like they're going to come to an agreement on a new contract over the next couple weeks and everything is fine. But Matthew Stafford staying with the Rams and leaving the Rams, two completely different stories which came out, which my head, when it first came out, was absolutely exploding. And then you saw both the Raiders and the Giants like full gas, full go. Here's what we'll pay you. 2 years, $100 million guaranteed, whatever draft compensation the Rams want. And I was banging my head against the table. Cooler heads prevailed. Stafford stays in L.A.
Yeah, I'm not as much of a fan as it for you. I think the Rams are wildly overrated. Since winning the Super Bowl, they've won 5 games, 10 games, and 10 games. Anyone who acts like they're some perennial Super Bowl contender is basically Joe Lisi, or people who lie to themselves because they are not that. So pretend like, oh, if he leaves the Rams, how's he going to win? He's not winning a Super Bowl. Okay, so we can get over that. All right, we can get over that. 2. But the idea of, well, now the Giants and Raiders won't be making any mistakes. Oh, really? Oh, are you sure? Because one team looks like they're going to sign the most toxic player in the entire league, and the other team's going to give Sam Darnold $45 million. So
I love it.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe Matty Staff in the black and silver would have been a nice move instead of paying Sam Darnold franchise quarterback money.
I talked about this, Kevin, on the morning show. And I said, like, Tom Brady might be the most competitive winner in the history of professional sports. Like, when you think about, hey, guys in the biggest moments coming up clutch, let's just say Michael Jordan, let's just say Tom Brady. And we'll put them just in respective spots here. But, competence off the field and running a franchise, Michael Jordan may be the worst general manager / owner, team owner in the history of professional sports. The worst to ever do it. Tom Brady, I think, is so competitive, Kevin, that I don't think he understands the concept of, all right, let me see the roster. Why are we not going out signing a quarterback and getting this and get that? And you have to calm him down. Like, look, we need to build this thing. Remember the way we built it in New England with you and Bill Belichick? It wasn't about free agents. It was about getting our franchise quarterback, which was you. And it was about him putting a game plan of how we are going to attack free agency, which means we're not. We're going to tell everybody on our football team, you're lucky to be here and you'll be paid way less than everybody else, but somehow you're buying to the Patriot way. But Tom Brady going out like, and first, before we can get to the Raiders, let me start with the Giants, because you're right about this. You're telling me they're like, all right, we're all in for Matthew Stafford. And then when you don't get it, it should be like, yeah, you know what? All right, let's head back. And they're like, no. Who's next on the list, which includes Aaron Rodgers to come in? And the reason I bring up the Giants is the self-preservation mode of the general manager and the coach are clouding every vision possible for the New York Giants, Kevin. Which means they are just trying to say, we won 5 last year. If I can get to 6 games, I can sell this dumb owner that we're on our way back up to being a playoff team. I don't have, and forget about the Raiders. Just talk to me about the Giants. Like, hey, Rodgers ruined one franchise. Stay here and ruin ours too.
Well, that is the reality of it, though. It is, I don't blame Joe Shane and Brian Daboll even slightly. And I'm not saying, so guys always have pressure, but Mara came out and was like, yeah, it's good. They better do something or we're going to have a problem. Like, you don't publicly usually see that, Donnie, outside of like a Jerry Jones, it feels. So those two have been told, like, if you don't at least flirt with making the postseason, I'm probably going to fire you. So they're going to try the 1-2 combination of, okay, Rodgers maybe gives us a shot at the postseason now, right? And we then take the young, exciting quarterback and go, whoa, okay, listen, man, you got to give us a shot at Cam. You got to give it a shot. We didn't even get a shot. Like, those guys actually are putting on a master class right now in terms of keep my job, you could potentially argue. And again, it's why the Stafford stuff all made sense. It's why the Stafford stuff made all the sense in the world.
Yeah, like, what do they do? Did they just like take him out to dinner and just like gas him up the whole night of what a great owner he is? It's pretty crazy how it boils down to. Because, and again, I try to reach out to, Giants fandom, right? And it's like, well, what do you want out of your team? Like, your team can only go in 2 directions: tanking all the way down to scrap it, or you're on the ascension to the way up. Like, it looks like they don't want to do either at this point, which is what I laugh at. And also, the fact that players can't tank. Players don't tank. Coaches typically don't tank either because they don't want to get fired. But a general manager in a front office is supposed to be like, hey, Mr. Owner, here's what we're doing here. We're up 7 points or whatever against the Colts. I'm pulling the plug on this entire team and telling the coach, you better run the football, take a knee the rest of the way out so we can absolutely lose this, right? So then they go, okay, well, we can always trade up. Are we saying now that the Giants, who are going to trade from 3-1 and give up next year's number 1 pick, then stink again and then have a Carolina Panthers situation like, oh, man, we got a franchise quarterback. We stink. Oh, wait a second. We don't even have the number 1 overall pick again in the second year. Like, that's what they're cascading to. Like, if you are the Giants, what do you do, Kevin, right now? What do you do?
Yeah, I think they are going to trade up for number 1 overall because I think the Titans are doing an excellent job of not forcing the quarterback pick. That's what we're seeing right now. Is despite what would be your advice, the Titans are like, we're going to draft Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, no problem. And that is, to me, the correct move. So the Giants will come up to number 1. And I mean, again, like the funny thing is I just see your smile. And like, I know he's 1, not listening, and 2, on Twitter. I don't know what you tweeted out. But it's like, it's hard to get through making a point.
You'll like it.
When you know. Well, I saw the Pope one already. Let's see what the second one is. Let's see.
It's the reply to it, which is it hits home so perfectly when you get like somebody to reply.
Terrible.
Like, yeah, like you're dead wrong. Like, no, he's cooking, man. Let him work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hit him with the quotes.
Watch it. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, like I always said, Mark Pope was, just a bad move to go to Kentucky. Never. So I'm actually nice to see. He's playing in the toughest division in, college sports right now. Yeah. We'll get to that topic after the break because it is kind of funny for the background.
Loser is kind of a mean-spirited slur.
But it doesn't have to stick.
Tell them to listen to SportsGrid and fix it.
No, thank you.
Later.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
In 1967, the White Sox were given permission to use a semi-designated hitter in training camp. 6 years later, the DH was implemented in the American League in 1973. Ron Blomberg of the Yankees became the first official DH in MLB history.
I had no idea it was going to affect baseball this much. I thought it was going to last a year at the most.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
The University of Copenhagen's new AI machine learning model can understand the emotional state of animals just by listening to them. With 89.4% accuracy, it acoustically distinguishes positive and negative emotions from 7 different species, including cows,
it's a beautiful day,
pigs,
stop stealing my snack,
and even wild boars.
Have you ever had one of those days?
This breakthrough universal animal emotion translator, a game changer for barnyard quality of life.
You're standing on my foot.
Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Sports Rage Tonight.
Dubsy the other day had a golf video, and he was asking about his outfit. And his outfit was terrible. Like, he had, like, purple shorts and a weird yellow, like...
The swing looked good.
Were you trying to be mismatched? Like, come on, Dubsy. It was awful. What, you like? It was a terrible look.
I'm going to snap. I hate that style so much. Hey, Brady, guys wearing khakis on the golf course, it's like, get a grip.
It's Sports Rage Tonight with Gabe Morency. Weekdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network. Winning is no accident.
You've got to be smart about it.
It takes a plan.
All centered around expert analysis and trusted information.
That's what you get.
Right here.
The Winning Edge. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
You watched the Academy Awards last night, Kev, did you?
I didn't watch it. I saw,
not really.
No.
I didn't see
but
any.
I didn't. I haven't been to the movies in a little bit. Not like crazy long, but
movies are bad now.
What did I see?
Because I used to like once or
you
twice
saw
a year
Twister?
ago.
Twister was great. You saw
I saw Twister at home. Yeah, like on the.
Okay. I saw it in the theater. That was very, very good.
Yeah.
What else did I see? I thought I saw one other thing. I don't know. Well, you know
Last
what I
time
do?
You went to the movies? Yeah.
Do you shop at Costco at all? You're a Costco guy?
I don't have a Costco like very close to me. I have a BJ's, but similar to those stores, yes, I do have a membership to those stores.
I bring it up because I don't know if they have, maybe they do at BJ's. They're probably all the same. They have the discounted movie tickets that you can get.
Oh yeah, I do.
It's
see
like
that.
you know what? This is worth it, right? Like eventually we'll go. We've been sitting on them for a little bit now. Partly busy, partly like nothing's grabbing me into the theater.
Yes.
You know?
To get me, it takes a lot because I'm not really a movie guy at home. Big movie guy, like let's just say Godfather's on. I'll watch it 62 straight days in a row. If I like movies, I'm always flipping through to find a movie, past, new, whatever. Hey, Above the Rim, let me watch that, or like Juice, like just bringing it back up there, having fun.
Sure.
But to me, it takes a lot to me to get to movie. Like I was excited to see Top Gun Maverick. Saw that movie's fantastic, loved it. But I need like an eventful type movie. But I'm also, Kevin, not a like Avengers, like superhero guy. Like I don't watch any of those movies. And it just feels like to me, like nothing has gotten my attention in like 2 years in the movies.
The Avengers, all that stuff is like you missed 2. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not caught up. Like I just can't, I don't know what's going on. So I'm kind of similar to you. There's some stuff that looks good, I feel. But again, like I don't know. It's like, when's this coming out? And then it's like, it'll be out on whatever it is soon enough anyway. So you kind of have some time. And but this is kind of the time. Like I'm not going to the movies down during football season. Like, well, you know what I mean? That's just not really much of an option. So now that we're into this type of weather, this
summer
type of season,
blockbusters. That's what we're used to. Not getting them anymore.
No, we'll get in the mix there. There's got to be some stuff though, but again, a lot of that, like, here's what's coming. And you're right, it is all the superhero movies, that are coming.
It used to be like I was never an Academy Awards like guy, but when you see like, hey, I saw 4 or 5 of these movies like back in the day. It's like, that's going to be interesting to see who wins this. When they went down that list, like I didn't see Wicked. I have no even interest in seeing that. A Nora one, I was like, did that even make the movie theaters? Like I don't even know.
Yeah, no, listen, again, like I think The Brutalist was the favorite. Yes. And I was like, I've heard of that. I never heard of Enora.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the betting on the Oscars and stuff is like really taking off? Like, are we on an island and people love betting on this stuff? Because it's surprising to me that like DraftKings and FanDuel are like all over the place to make sure that they can book this stuff.
Yeah. I just think degens are going to degen and bet whatever they have. And maybe that's one of the few things you can get like inside information on as opposed to like how somebody's going to play this weekend.
So I almost wonder if the people who are betting on the Oscars, what level of crossover there is like being a typical sports gambler. Like, I wonder if the movie crowd is like, no, like I want to bet. I want to get involved. Because I think like if for people that are kind of in it, Donnie, like they like to do like, let's all make our picks. Like I think when you do when you watch the Oscars 10 years ago, you're like, let's all pick what we think's going to win. So maybe it's a big deal. Like you want to go like big galaxy brain, right? Like last night, should the in-game live crew have been doing Oscars coverage? Like, or should they have been doing Lakers Clippers? Wow, that team's red hot.
Yeah, it's a shame that my guy Big Will can't stay healthy for that team. It's a shame. They'll come back. They'll be good to go. My guys will be in there.
Ooh.
Clip show.
Oh, Norman Powell?
Yeah, Norman Powell. I call him Big Will. It's my guy.
Why?
Big Willie. Yeah, that's just because he's a big game player. He doesn't play, they don't win.
Yeah.
My guy.
He did get injured in game.
I know he did. That's the first thing I checked. Like, because Norman Powell hasn't played for the last couple of games, and the Clippers aren't bad. It's like, my guy Will's back. Let me see what happens. So I wake up and see the Lakers win. I'm like, man, what did Norm do last night? I saw 9 minutes. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I was like, hammy again. Like, come on, Kevin, you can't fight that hammy. Like, you either get it handled or you just let it go by. So my guy Big Will now out of the lineup probably for the next week or two.
Well, what I don't understand, though, is like when that happens in the NFL, like when they rush back, it's like, I don't know, I kind of get it. Why are you rushing back ever in the NBA from a hamstring injury? Like, how does that make, if it's not the playoff, what are we doing here?
Sit it out. Yeah, that's right.
He thought he was making all NBA?
Heck yeah. We'll be right back.
Yeah, right.
It's easy to get SportsGrid almost anywhere with our mobile app.
So give us a break.
We're not going to tap your screen for you. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Lots of movement around the NFL. Matthew Stafford has agreed to a restructured deal with the Rams. Last offseason, Stafford agreed to a reworked deal that took until the day the Rams reported to training camp. He's 191 yards shy of 60,000 career passing yards, a milestone 9 other quarterbacks have reached. The Rams also reached a deal with offensive tackle Alaric Jackson. It's a 3-year contract worth $57 million. The 49ers have traded Deebo Samuel to Washington. In exchange, they get a 5th-round pick. Washington takes on the remainder of Samuel's contract. The standout receiver becomes another weapon for quarterback Jaden Daniels. The Chiefs will reportedly use the franchise tag on Pro Bowl guard Trey Smith. Meanwhile, teams were informed last week that the salary cap for this coming season is $279.2 million per club. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
There are lots of reasons to get excited for spring. Warmer weather, get-togethers, and now new spring arrivals from your favorite brands at Macy's. Even more exciting, refresh your beauty routine at our Buy More, Save More event. Pick up new skincare, makeup, and fragrances from Estee Lauder, Valentino, MAC, and more. And save $30 with every $150 you spend. The more you spend, the more you save. Don't wait. Beauty deals this good won't last long. Hurry into Macy's today. Savings off regular price beauty and fragrance. Exclusions apply.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy
How to tell if you have the winning edge. Take a sheet of paper.
Crumple into a ball.
Throw it at a trash can. Even if you miss, so long as you're listening to us.
You have it. Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Oh, yeah. Come on, we got plenty more hot topics here. NBA card tonight. Philadelphia 76ers looking for 2 wins in a row, which is ridiculous because my guy Grimy is just dominating, dropping close to 50 burgers on Golden State's head this past weekend. Now they play against the Trailblazers tonight, who the Sixers better not win that game, but I don't want to spend my time talking about that. I want to spend my time talking about this. How about the most earth-shattering move that we've seen this weekend? Deebo Samuel, all 1,500 yards 4 or 5 years ago, going to Washington and having Twitter/X treat this as like a Madden game. Like, they just got the best wideout for a 5th-round pick, and then everybody going like, all right, let me explain how this actually works and why Deebo Samuel is on the Washington Commanders at this point. Yes, he makes $20 million. That's why it was a 5th-round pick. And also, he's 30 years old, injured all the time. Does it make them better, Kevin? From my perspective, adding him, if he does bring somewhat of his talents there, makes him a slightly better team. They have a ton of money to spend. But I do love the fact like they just got Deebo. They're ready to dominate. And then part 2 of it is, don't you think the 49ers understand what Deebo Samuel has left in the tank? Like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I think for me, my bigger takeaway was how the 49ers at the moment seemingly cannot time any of these moves correctly. Like, they could have got a 1st-round pick for Deebo Samuel. He asked out like every year on the year. No. Contract becomes an anchor. All right, you eat it all. Give us a 5th, fine. Now, incredibly, everyone's like, well, listen, one of Deebo or Ayuk will get traded. And they went, no. Then Deebo gets traded. And now they're like, yeah, Brandon Ayuk's probably going to get traded too. Oh, is he? Off a torn ACL? Now we're going to move Brandon?
Yes.
For what?
After
a 4th-round pick? I do not understand how the 49ers had 2 guys who they could have moved for 1st-round picks forever and probably been totally fine with those moves and have now found themselves, a pair of 5th-round picks back for these guys. And, I hope Ricky Pearsall can be an elite number 1 wide receiver. It's just crazy.
Yeah, we can equate. Let's talk 2 football teams, but in the same genre now, because the 49ers still get a lot of respect in the odds market. We don't know who their quarterback's going to be or how much money he's going to make right now. Christian McCaffrey, hey, I'm coming back. Good. Is that 1 game, 2 games? Is it shut it down? Is it I'm going to be great? You take a look at Bosa, injured, gets paid a lot of money here. Some of those guys on the defense getting a little bit up there in years. George Kittle looking for a big money contract. And you're right. Deebo Samuel wanted a blank check. They gave it to him. Hasn't worked out since he signed that deal. Brandon Ayuk last year, we're going to trade it for a first-round pick, as you pointed out, rightfully so. No, let's keep him signing big term. Now, it's not his fault he blew his knee out, but they're at such a crossroads right now of a football team, which is amazing, which then brings me to my next point in the Dallas Cowboys. Kevin, help me understand this. Dak Prescott, who Jerry Jones, and I saw the actual reports come out, profitable NFL teams, Kevin, they made over $512 million in profit last year. Like almost 3 or 4 times, Kevin, over the second-place team and beyond. Like the most expensive franchise, making the most money, it makes sense. And it's not a direct tie into the salary cap because there is a salary cap. No matter how much money you make, you can only spend a certain amount. But there's ways to like maneuver the cap. Like if let's just say like a Howie Roseman was in Dallas, how they would work around it. That is scheduled to be, Kevin, $90 million against the salary cap this year. You take a look at CeeDee Lamb, one of the biggest deals a wide receiver in NFL history had. Then you go over to the defensive side, and you know Michael Parsons is going to be up. He's going to get paid more money than any defender has ever been paid in the NFL. And now they're out here going like, you know what? We missed the boat on this one too. Odigizua, who is a very good defensive tackle, not a top 5, not even a top 10. Tag that guy and pay him like a top 5 player, which ties up immediately $25 to $26 million on your salary cap. How can they be this fun? Like a team with that much money should have everybody at the height and the best powers of their position in the front office, high paid, understanding what to do. Why are they so bad at the salary cap?
Yeah, I just think the timing is always wrong.
Jeez.
Like that is really
they don't know how to identify anybody.
But even Dak, Donnie, like there was just so many times it felt like they didn't have to find themselves in a bad position with the Dak contract. And then they did, right? And then they did. And I think if you look around, like, you know, Dak Prescott is still the guy that a lot of people will throw, you know, a lot of praise at. I feel regardless of how the results actually start to stack up. Dak gets a lot of grace, I think, from certain people. Donnie, if they traded Dak, not now, they can't with the contract, but if they did, I mean, they would have been able to get back hauls. Right? Absolutely, you know, fantastic draft capital and things of that nature. And then they found a way to, Dak's $90 million against the cap, right? I mean, it's bizarre. And I think the problem is you can never kind of have realistic conversations with this football team because they do such a good job, it feels like, bringing in some blue chip talent. Because they are so good at drafting in the opening round of the draft specifically, Michael Parsons has to be paid record-breaking money. CeeDee Lamb has to be paid record-breaking money. And then you have Dak Prescott every year telling people, listen, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Like, Dak can't – I understand. People, you go, what do you want him to say? Not that. Dak shouldn't say we're going to win 4 or 5 games, but Dak does not. Dak should be aware of his surroundings, know that everything he says, his owner says, is going to get – just absolutely put one on top of another. Stop putting Super Bowl at the forefront of every conversation around you when you can't make a conference championship game, right? When you struggle to win a playoff game. You got to stop doing that because you're putting yourselves in a weird spot. Like, to me, when you look at the cap situation, Donnie, it probably sounds like Dallas could really use a reset year. And instead, if Ashton Genty is on the board at 12, Jerry Jones is going to run through chess to put that pick on the board. And Genty would be incredible in Dallas. Yeah, but that's not where they are right now as a franchise. It's not where they are. And that's kind of the problem is it just doesn't ever feel like they're being rational. It doesn't feel like they're being reasonable, thoughtful in their execution.
Yeah, and nobody's going to stay on top of them. Why? Because it's Jerry Jones. Like, hey, I'll hire and fire, and we'll make more money than anybody else, and you can't get rid of me at this point. But it just always brings up, like, if they manage their situations, like, yes, Dak's going to be our franchise guy. Let's sign him earlier than later. No, we're going to kick the can away to every single year, which the price goes up. And then, obviously, his $90 million cap hit this year. They'll probably restructure, which means you kick the can down the road. And then there's going to be years where he's not even on the football team and he's $86 million towards the cap. Like, how did this actually happen? Because of the way they structure their contracts, which is so wild. And again, like, Odighizuwa is solid, but now you're saying he's a top 5 paid defensive tackle. It's like, man, this doesn't even like compute make sense at this point here. But it is the NFL offseason right now as we wait for free agency to come up. We're seeing who still some of those, tagged veterans are going to be, but not a lot out there at this point. Are you starting to settle into the draft for you at this point? Like, what's your next steps here for the NFL? Breaking it down?
I'm excited for the draft. I'm excited. I'm excited for the draft, Don, because I've always enjoyed betting the draft. I've enjoyed following the draft. I'm very interested to see what trades that we get. And I've made this point a few times. I think it's one of the more interesting things. But this year, DraftKings decided to post team to draft first. We do not see that usually, right? There's a reason why they post first overall draft pick odds. It's kind of a protection for them, right? Yeah. It allows all the action to stay in play. And they've decided to do that, and they've just watched this Giants number move more and more and more. And I think I think anybody would agree that this is a lot more than a smokescreen from Tennessee, right? When you have the first pick, you don't need a smokescreen. That they want to trade that pick. And that kind of starts a domino potentially, right? Because some people think the Browns love Cam Ward. Well, if the Giants go up to 1, Cam Ward's not going to be on the board. So now, the Browns are going to have to pivot.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting all season for a couple teams here. But you know what? I want to ask Kevin a question. The NBA next. It deals with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Value?
You're listening to one of the last places on earth where a man can be a man and not get those looks.
Welcome aboard, good sir.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Men's top 25 hoops on Sunday. Number 8, Michigan State beat number 11, Wisconsin, 71-62. Illinois upset number 15, Michigan, 93-73. Michigan State's 15-3 in the Big Ten. Michigan 14-4. The Spartans and Wolverines will battle next Sunday in a matchup that could determine the Big Ten championship. Elsewhere Sunday, number 18, Memphis beat UAB 88-81. The Tigers are 14-2 in the American. Women's top 25 Sunday, number 1, Texas beat Florida 72-46. Number 6, South Carolina beat number 15, Kentucky 78-66. Both South Carolina and Texas are 15-1 in the SEC. The Longhorns and Gamecocks split their season series, but South Carolina won a coin flip and will be the number 1 seed for this week's SEC tournament in Greenville. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Something amazing is happening in workplaces everywhere. Devices are learning how people work and adapting to help them get more done. That's because CDW is modernizing experiences with Dell's intelligent portfolio of devices. Thanks to built-in security and AI capabilities, your teams can work smarter wherever they may be. Dell and CDW. Make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Dell Client.
When it comes to odds on daily sporting events, it's complicated when you factor in everything from current wind speed
to how hot a player's girlfriend is.
But you don't have to mess with that.
Just keep it here
and listen.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Oh, yeah. Told you I had a question for Kevin. NBA, but how do you like this, Kevin? NBC will have Mike Tirico doing play-by-play assignments for 2 games this week. Sixers Trailblazers on NBC Philly and Celtics Trailblazers on NBC Boston. Tonight will be Tirico's first NBA broadcast in almost 9 years as he prepares for a full-time role in 2025-2026. You know why I said this? I can't stand the Philadelphia 76ers home booth. So
Okay.
Tirico in there might be the only time I might actually sit down and watch a Sixer game, be happy with it.
There you go. Yeah. Look, the maybe I'm crazy. I truly think the NBA going to NBC is going to be very, very, very beneficial for the league. We don't have to get into the inside debate like we do, but I think it's one of those things where a new coat of paint will help the perception a little bit.
We need the Van
What does he even
Gundy's
do?
back. I don't know.
What does Mark Jackson even do? Because Van Gundy's on the Clippers bench. Does Mark Jackson just not even work? Which is fine. I'm just saying, usually, I don't know. It's interesting.
At the top of your game, get let go. Like, I'm not even going to latch on anywhere. So, I mean, obviously, he's got multiple, pension and sources and probably made a ton of money. So he doesn't have to do anything. But it is interesting that he's not there. But Tirico coming in, I look, a lot of it does have to do sometimes with, the comfortability of gameplay. Like, hey, man, I tune in. I like to hear this guy call a game, and you'll watch it a little bit longer. But the rebranding back to NBC, get those 80s, 90s vibes and all that good stuff. Can't hurt the NBA. That's for sure. Who loses, by the way? Who loses the NBA if NBC's getting it? It's just a separate package. Oh.
TNT.
See that? You remember it.
Yeah.
You ever turn on a TNT game outside to watch the real show?
No, I think if you're honest, you don't turn it on. You see the clips, you see the shorts. You don't even watch inside the NBA because you're asleep. Like that's, you can't even pretend that you watch that. You don't watch it.
But it's fantastic theater. Put that thing on at 6:00 on ESPN. Let's go. Let's rip it. Let's rip it and rhyme.
That's what I can't wait for more than anything. It's going to be absolutely ruined.
The only thing left. Those guys make like $100 million, like $200 million contracts. Why? Because people like those guys. Speak the truth. We speak the truth on the network, Kevin. They speak the truth. Why don't you like it?
Because they don't, because they're lost. They don't speak the truth. They're totally lost. They've been lost. And it's very fun to me, actually, to be honest with you. It is fun and tough, though, to watch these guys get called out. I mean, it's good because it should happen. But, I also then, the responses are just mind-numbing because it's just more and more of the garbage and the nonsense. But it's fine. It's fine. We don't have to go down that road.
What happens if I told you this? Go ahead. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting to rate. You know what if I told you this?
Yeah.
Cavaliers are going to win the championship. What do you say to that?
I think that it's on the board. I think the Cavs have been disrespected still in the market a little bit because when you look at Cleveland has the chance to be the number 1 overall seed, so they could get home court advantage in the finals, which is important. Now, what people will say is, how does Cleveland have the proven pedigree? The reality is that Cleveland core has as much pedigree as OKC's core. OKC has the one postseason win. Last year, were eliminated in the semifinals. It was the same situation for the Cavs. Now, SGA is a much better basketball player than anybody on Cleveland, and you want to be able to have the best player in the world, and SGA is a make-the-argument level guy. Donovan Mitchell is not that, but Donovan Mitchell has a lot of postseason success on his resume. And I think for me, we don't need to overcomplicate this. If your team can make the finals, your team can win the finals. That's how I view it. So to say that Cleveland can't win the Eastern Conference, I think would be crazy. I don't even know how anybody could make that argument, truly. So to me, I view it as the Cavs are a clear-cut contender. And I think, I don't know if it's moved sense, but you have two teams under like 2-1 to win the title, and they're sitting at like 7-1.
Yeah.
That just doesn't.
170, 190, and 7-1.
Right.
It's
that's not right.
Because you're and again, I understand that. And by the way, I like the Celtics last week when they took on the Cavaliers up until they were sitting multiple starters by game time. And they came out gangs blazing out there, hammering the Cleveland Cavaliers. Credit the Cavs coming back and winning that basketball game. But I always look at the NBA. It's booked so much different than any other sport. Like, that game didn't matter at all. The regular season doesn't matter when the Cavaliers might finish 10 games ahead of the Celtics. The people just say when the Celtics are healthy and it's the playoffs, they're the better team. But also, when you look at the Celtics, Kevin, plus 170 to win the championship on FanDuel. OKC, the plus 190, we talked about the Cavs at 7-1. Like, the Cavs not going to have home field advantage or home court advantage for the Eastern Conference Finals and or the NBA Finals. And nope, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, look, that is the other. I actually don't know if Boston would be favored in the series over OKC because of what you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been booked so similarly all year, and because then OKC would have home court, I think that's relevant. Look, I'll just throw this log on top of the fire since we're talking value. I don't think they've moved the Lakers' futures anywhere near enough. I think they're.
I don't have. See, I don't have them. They're going to probably get the number 2 seed. Let's just say, but I'm not interested in them winning the championship. I'm just not. Like I'm just not buying in yet.
But what's the holdback?
No injury. Like it's like, I think LeBron's going to break down. Nothing. I just don't think that they have enough gas in the tank. Like I just think they're low post game, if you will. They needed a strong focal center point here to sort of anchor that defense, which I don't think they have. And I like Luka. Luka's a very good basketball player. Finally last night, efficient Luka. That's what you want to see for the Lakers. When LeBron doesn't have to be efficient, which he wasn't last night, and still win basketball games, that's a big deal. But I don't look at them. And maybe it's just because I think the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Cavaliers are so much better than everybody else that I can't even say, even looking at the Nuggets 14-1 or the Knicks 22-1. I just don't see anybody outside of those three as title contenders, which is probably just clouding my vision.
No, but so my stance has been, let's remove the East for a second. Unless someone's take is, I guarantee you OKC is winning the West. I don't care who they play. If that's your take, well, then okay, we don't have to have a list of contenders. But the notion that if you expand that list, Denver's a contender, but I'm not sure about the Lakers. That's insane. That's crazy. The Grizzlies, I could see. Golden State, maybe. It's what are we talking about?
253.5 tonight, Kevin. You ever hear that number? 253.5 tonight. Atlanta Hawks, Memphis Grizzlies. 253.5. And I say, going over. That's right. We'll be right back. Little NCAA talk to end it.
This is the place. This is where you'll get expert perspectives and sports gaming strategies 24/7.
And it's free.
Beat that, you cheap. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Football full circle.
Even though it doesn't make sense for the LA Rams, there's something behind the scenes that is either Matt Stafford saying, I want more. His wife has been very outspoken about the organization. That type of feelings fuel resentment towards the organization that Matt Stafford says, you know what, maybe I'd be better off with a fresh start, have another shot at the Super Bowl.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Think of us as your cool roommate that has this innate gift of somehow always picking winners and never bugs you about doing the dishes or paying rent. Sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Kansas, Houston tonight, Kevin, Fertitta Center. We're looking at Houston as that true championship contender. Kansas, it's getting ugly out there. Double-digit loss season there for Bill Self in Kansas. Players posted on social media that the fans aren't happy with them. And they're going to go into a buzzsaw tonight because everything that Kansas, Kevin, wants to do on offense, Houston's not going to let you do that. So this I don't know where this game winds up. But we were talking about this morning. Haven't bet it yet. When I look at Houston, number 1 overall in defense in conference play, number 1 on offense, that's usually a very good recipe for success. But Houston's defense is like, hey, come out here and shoot as many 3-point shots as you want here. And Kansas is like, we're good. And Kansas goes, you know what? We're going to score on the inside. And Houston goes, we're number 1 in conference play at defending inside at 16th out of 16 teams at 2% distribution rate versus Kansas is number 1. Like, Kansas wants to go inside. You can't do that. We'll let you shoot the 3. We don't want to do that. I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but Kansas ain't beating Houston tonight. That's for sure. Do I want to take them by, let's just say, double digits? I actually look towards Kansas team total to the under tonight, Kevin. How about that?
I was going to say, listening to your breakdown and whatnot, considering Houston's most recent game, this looks like one of those classic Cougar Rock fights.
Yes.
Kansas is... You turn the game on, 4 minutes to go. They're sitting at 12 points. You're like, someone explain yourself. I mean, what's even going on here, man? But yeah, what a tough season for the Jayhawks. They were the number 1 team in the country coming in the year.
Yep.
So
a lot of NIL money.
When you try and pass blame, it's kind of hard to, this XYZ. Like This is a team that's falling well short of expectation. Now, they're going to be in the tournament, and then we can start to judge some things off of that. But it is pretty remarkable. I still can't believe, I cannot believe that Houston, Donnie, left the American and then just walks into the Big 12 and wins it every year.
And better.
It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. The equivalent for everybody is if Gonzaga, leaving the WCC, went into the Big 12 and won it every year. Like, I don't know how that's going to look. Like, that could be, and they win every game.
And not even hey, we wanted a 10-6 or 10-8 or 11. It was tough, 11-8. Like, no, we're walking through every team in here, and you're going to have to deal with it. Yeah, one of the more impressive trade-ups there.
I don't know. It's so impressive. What do you make of Duke? Man, I love the Cooper Flag points, rebounds, and assists the other night. But he left early in the first half. Yeah, so I only got 20 minutes. He would have soared over it. He got 26 PRA in 20 minutes. I mean, he would have soared through that number.
Yeah.
But, he leaves for that was so frustrating. I don't know what to do with these Duke games, though. I mean, they were laying.
Take the 3 ball.
They're laying so many points.
Take the 3 balls tonight. Don't worry about them covering 20. Don't worry about the game total.
Yeah.
Wake Forest actually is the number 1 team in conference play at defending the 3-point line at 31%. Say, why would you go?
It still doesn't matter.
Yeah, Duke is 40% number 1 at shooting. But here's the key, Kevin. 18 teams in the ACC. You know who's number 18 at letting you shoot the 3-point shot at 18 teams? It's Wake Forest. And how about Duke? Number 2 in the ACC at volume from 3-point range. So even though they defend it well, they might meet their match for a team that Concanapa or whoever. If I'm playing this game, I'm lining up player props from the 3-point line. Because that's the way you score on Wake Forest. That's the way Duke wants to shoot. 44% of their total shots from 3-point range and almost 50%. It's actually 47%. Wake Forest lets you shoot the 3-point shot. So I'm not playing anything in this game other than 3-point shots. If they go down, Duke just smashes them. But it's one of those where it's like, hey, Duke shot 10 more 3-pointers tonight than they usually do. I want to take advantage of that. So I don't know which player I'm going to take or how that bounces out, but just looking at the early numbers, that's your attack point here. Where Duke's like, look, I know you defend it well, but you let us shoot it, we'll shoot it.
I think the biggest thing for Duke, that Illinois game ended up being, I think you could have got some people to be like, hey, man, I don't know. Like, they're great, but the ACC is so bad. Illinois just 20-pieced Michigan. And I know some think Michigan are fraudulent, but, they just, in the middle of ACC play, stepped outside the house. I'm like, all right, whatever, we'll roll Illinois. And they just keep rolling teams up. It's very impressive, man, to just constantly roll up opponent after opponent like that. It has been, man, it's going to be a good tournament, huh? I feel it's going to be a really, really good tournament.
No, there's a lot of fun teams in this. You have the upper level teams, but as we pointed out, the Texas Techs and the Iowa States, and you have the upset bidders and how will these teams show up. But you're right about Duke with one thing. After that Clemson loss, you know what? Let's get back to our ways. And they're just smoking everybody. Point spreads don't even matter at this point. North Carolina up on Saturday, rivalry, but we'll see if it plays out tonight before they get to that game Saturday. A lot of fun had here on a Monday right here on the Sports Grid Network for Moneyline. As always, Donnie Rightside, Kevin Walsh, JP behind the wheels of steel. Tomorrow's another day. We'll be back for another edition of Moneyline.
It's easy to get SportsGrid almost anywhere with our mobile app.
So give us a break.
We're not going to tap